The Art of Leadership Network.
Hey leaders, welcome to the Lead Culture Podcast. I'm your host, Jenni Catron, founder and CEO of the Foresight Group, where our mission is to cultivate healthy leaders to lead thriving teams. This podcast is for leaders who want more than just good intentions. You want clarity, confidence, and practical tools to lead well in the real world. Each week, I'll equip you to navigate the challenges of leadership and culture with insight that you can actually put into practice. We'll explore what it really takes to lead yourself well, because the way you show up as a leader shapes everything. From your decisions to your team's health and momentum, my goal is to equip you to lead with purpose, strengthen your culture, and create environments where people and organizations flourish. Along the way, you'll hear honest conversations, real stories, and proven frameworks from leadership and culture topics to insights from guests and leaders who are committed to doing the work of leading well. So whether you're leading a team, an organization, or simply working to grow as a leader, you're in the right place. Let's dive in and continue on this leadership journey together. Well, friends, today I want to take you on a conversation around how do you turn your 2026 strategy into results? How do you align your team for maximum impact? I'm having this question a lot with leaders because we start the year strong, don't we? We start with a big vision and strategic plan, and then we get a few weeks in, as we are, and we start kind of feeling just the gridlock, right? We don't get the momentum that maybe we hope for. Maybe our teams are busy, but they're not really doing the right things, right? It's not like they're focused on the right priorities. Execution is just sluggish. There's an invisible driver that's holding us back, right? Like something is kind of holding us back. We're not getting the momentum we want. And so what I want to do today is I want to give you some practical steps that you can implement to help you identify that thing that will get you to the results that you want, that help you execute on that strategic plan. So again, you've spent hours building out that strategy, or I hope you have. I hope that you do have a strategy in front of you. You've got some goals in mind. If you don't, I'll go back and encourage you to spend some time doing that. But the real question you're wrestling with is, will your team actually deliver it? Right? Or can we actually do this thing that we've set out to do? Most leaders don't struggle with vision or planning. Like we love a good plan and some big goals, but we struggle with execution, especially when we need to mobilize an entire team to execute. Not because people don't care, but because alignment breaks down in ways that are hard to see until results start slipping, right? It's until we start to see that long tail of things not getting the momentum that we hope for, that we realize that something's broken kind of somewhere in the system and we're not getting the traction we hope for. Those big goals and aspirations struggle to get momentum, and it feels a bit like quicksand. Like that's the best way I know how to describe it when I've had those seasons of like, we have great ideas, we have a great strategy, we have great goals, but we just can't get traction. Feels like quicksand. We're moving, we're trying to move anyway, but we're not actually getting there. And sometimes I think our traditional response or our instinctive response to this is we just start pushing harder. Like, well, maybe if we get a little more aggressive or a little more forceful, or we get clearer on the timeline, we just push a little bit more. That overachiever in me can sometimes be my reaction, is just let's push harder and push us to get this done. Sometimes I think, well, maybe I just need to cast more vision. Maybe we need more vision. And that might be true. Maybe we do need to help connect the dots more fully. And then sometimes we'll get so frustrated, maybe we start moving people around, or maybe even let some people go because we feel like they're the problem. When the actual problem might come back to one of my favorite words, clarity. Maybe what the problem is that our team is really lacking clarity to help us accomplish that strategy. You've heard me say before that clarity is the chief indicator of the health of a culture. The more clarity we provide, the more confidently team members contribute. And we really do build trust in the organization when we provide clarity. The more clarity we provide, the more confidence people have, the more trust that they have in how to contribute organizationally. And so there's just a phenomenal relationship and a really important thing we need to recognize around the power of clarity. So today I want to talk through something I'm calling the Clarity Cascade. As we're looking at our big goals and strategies for this year, there's a cascading effect to what we do that we really need to think about in order to make sure we're providing the clarity needed at every step. And so the Clarity Cascade starts with just our mission, which is the why. Why do we exist? What's that sense of purpose? That statement that just defines this is why we do what we do. Now, for most of us, that's clear. It's fixed. At Foresight, we cultivate healthy leaders to lead thriving teams. That mission is so important, and it's the top of the cascade, right? We've got to have a clear why. Then we move on to vision, which is the what. So the vision is a more specific target, defining what it will take to bring the mission to life. It provides a specific and measurable target to shoot for that's in support of the mission. So you see the cascade is starting to happen. We have our mission, which is our why. Our vision is our what. Now, for Foresight, our mission is cultivate healthy leaders to lead thriving teams. Our vision is to coach and develop 100,000 leaders in 3 years. That's a very specific target, 100,000 leaders in 3 years. That gives my team, that's what we're focused on. We know why we're doing it. Here's what we're aiming for, 100,000 leaders in 3 years. And just a note here, team members join for our why, like the mission, the why we do what we do really matters, but they engage because of the what, our vision. It gets them up in the morning, like 100,000 leaders, let's go. Let's find those leaders and let's serve them well. So with that vision defined, now we start getting more specific about how you'll achieve that vision. And while a vision is exciting and motivating, it can quickly become overwhelming if team members can't tie their daily action to the vision. So this is where we cascade further. So we start with mission, which is our why. We have our vision, which is our what. The next part of the cascade is our strategy, our how. And this is kind of where we were focusing today a little bit, is that strategic plan. It starts with mission and vision. And then that strategic part, the how, defines the tactics and the actions required to put feet to the vision. So you see how all of these line up with one another. The strategy or strategic plan is a tool to help every person on the team know specifically what to do today to help them achieve the vision tomorrow. So mission is our why, vision is our what, strategy is the how. And this is often where we stop, right? So again, most of us, we, anchored back to our mission, we defined that vision statement, and then we're like, strategic plan, we got it, we're rolling. So here we are, nearly the end of the first month of the year, and we're like, got our strategic plan, we're ready to go. But that's often where we stop. And I think there's another critical part of that clarity cascade that needs our attention. And I think this might be the thing holding you up. If you're feeling a little bit of lack of movement towards your strategy, this might be the key. And that next part of that clarity cascade is the structure, our who. You must structure your team to support your strategy. You must structure your team to support your strategy. What am I talking about here? I'm talking about an org chart. I'm talking about, is our team aligned and organized to help us achieve the strategy that accomplishes the vision, that accomplishes the mission? There's our cascade again, right? Missions are why, visions are what, strategy is our how, and structure is our who. But again, most of the time we stop at strategy and we don't see the cascading impact that our structure actually needs to be cascading from that strategy, that the strategy needs to inform the structure. A good org chart helps everyone understand their place on the team and how they're connected to that mission and vision. It essentially clarifies their purpose in helping the organization accomplish its purpose. So there's incredible value in thinking about your structure and how it serves your strategy to support your vision and your mission. You've seen that cascade, you've seen that impact. And oftentimes what happens is we do the mission, vision, strategy, and then the structure piece is just kind of over here. We do that separated, isolated. We do it more around who we have than the strategy that helps us accomplish the mission and vision. And that's the piece I want you to change. I want you to think differently. I want you to see that your structure, your org chart is a direct cascade of mission, vision, strategy. That makes sense? Okay, so let me give you two important purposes of a well-designed org chart. First of all, it equips you to execute that mission, vision, strategy. It's directly related. It's not separate and isolated. It's directly related to helping you achieve your mission, vision, and strategy. And then secondly, it helps everyone understand their place. And here's why this matters, because if your structure serves a strategy that helps you achieve your vision and your mission, every role is mission critical. I'm going to say that again because I kind of bumbled it a little bit. If your structure is based upon your strategy, that's based upon your vision, that helps you achieve your mission, then every role in that structure is mission critical because you're defining the structure based upon what you need to accomplish the mission. It's all connected. And when you do that, it helps everybody see that every role on the structure is mission critical. It's there on purpose. It's there because it's essential to accomplishing our strategy to achieve the mission and the vision. Now, two key characteristics of a good org chart. First, it exists because we are notorious for kind of knowing in our head how our team is organized and who does what and just who reports to whom. We actually need this documented. You need it on a chart. I know sometimes we don't like it because it feels like hierarchy or bureaucracy. That's not what it's about. It's about clarity. Org charts provide clarity. Org charts help everybody see, here are the roles that we need. Here how they are related to one another. Here's who reports to whom, and here's the responsibilities that you have. Your org chart is a clarity tool. It's powerful and it's important. So if it doesn't exist, that's your first order of business. You've got to build your org structure and it needs to be in alignment with your strategy, mission, and vision. Secondly, another characteristic of a good org chart is that it can quickly be understood without explanation. So I'll have this happen all the time. I'll be working with an organization and I'll ask them for their org chart because I need to understand it. I need to understand your mission, your vision, your strategy, and I need to see how you're structured in order for me to help invest in your leaders and your team. So I've got to see it. I've got to understand how you're structured to serve your strategy. And inevitably, if I get an org chart, because first point, not everybody has built one. If I get one, oftentimes a leader will say, okay, but I need to explain this to you. Or this person, their title is this, but they actually do this. Or this person, it looks like they report here, but they technically report over here. And so they'll give me all the caveats of all the things that are technically incorrect on the org chart, but they've done workarounds. And I get it. There's a lot of reasons why we do workarounds. Sometimes we are just juggling all the dynamics of the individuals. Sometimes we don't want to hurt people's feelings. Sometimes we want to honor people that have been there a long time. There's a myriad of reasons why we do it. But every time you do one of those things and you make those concessions, you create confusion. So you have to fight for clarity. You have to fight for getting that structure as accurate as possible so that you could hand it over to me and I would go, I get it. Okay. I see who does what. I see how they relate to one another. I understand what their roles and responsibilities are, and I understand how that supports your strategy. Great. Now we can move forward because we all have clarity. Super powerful and really, really important, you guys. You're giving yourself excuses right now why you have an exception to this rule for your structure. And I want to just push you, fight for clarity. Work hard to provide the clarity because even though you think you're being kind by making some workarounds for people, it's actually creating more confusion in your organization and probably more frustration that you're not even aware of. So if you don't have an org chart or it is not quickly understood, I want you to give time and energy there because that clarity is really, really powerful. Now, once you have the org chart, once you have it easily understandable, you want to make sure that every role on that team, you've defined the responsibilities that are critical for their success, right? So now you're taking it a layer deeper. Now you have the structure. Now you need to make sure that those roles and responsibilities are abundantly clear because every person on your team is asking if their role matters. Here's why this is so big. I told you earlier that every role is mission critical. Well, everyone wants to know that they matter, that there's a reason why they are there and that they're there for a purpose. They want to be a part of meaningful work. And whether subconscious or not, they're asking where they fit and do they matter. Every person on your team has that question mark at some point in some way. So the clearer we get on their role and their responsibility and where they fit in the structure and how that supports the strategy, the more confidently they start to contribute. Without the clarity of an organizational structure that reflects every mission critical role on the team, employees are left to create their own interpretation of the importance of their work and where they fit, right? So they're going to start filling in the gaps. They're going to start making their own stories. You want to help shore that up and give them the clarity that they need to confidently contribute. So the final step of your org structure is ensuring that not only is every role in the structure clear, but every role has clear responsibilities and expectations. Because if this clarity is not provided, guys, it just creates frustration for your team. They are just getting frustrated, not only because they don't know what they're supposed to be doing, they don't know what their coworkers are supposed to be doing. So they'll find themselves assuming something is someone's responsibility, and they go to that person asking for whatever they need from that individual. And that person's like, well, that's not my job. They're like, wait a minute, I thought that was your job. I thought that was your role. Who's responsible for that? And so the more they bump into those points of confusion or frustration with themselves and or with others on the team, the more they start to kind of throw up their hands. Like sometimes when we see apathy or disengagement and we think that people just have bad attitudes or, just don't want to contribute, they might actually just be frustrated and overwhelmed because of the confusion in the system. So clarity is powerful, super important to help each person on your team know where they belong and what's expected of them. They need a set of written core responsibilities. And I want to give you just 3 filters for clarifying responsibilities. So you're going to make sure your mission, your why is clear. Make sure your vision, your what is understood. Build that strategy that says how we're living out that mission and vision. Build that structure that says who does what. And then give clear responsibilities to every person on that structure. And here's 3 filters that you can use to help you clarify responsibilities. First, you want to be clear. You want an employee to read their job description and have a strong understanding of how they should be spending their time and energy. Now, a job description doesn't capture every task that they're possibly doing, but it captures the core elements, the core activities that they should be responsible for. So you want to be as clear as possible that you hand them that job description and they go, oh, yep, I get it. Okay, that's what I'm responsible for. Secondly, you want to be relatively concise, because we can have a tendency then to want to put everything in it and make it 5 pages long. That's just overwhelm. So you want a 1-page description with clear bulleted responsibilities, and that's typically plenty. You don't want to overwhelm, you just want to empower. So you're really trying to strike that balance of enough clarity that they understand those core things that they're responsible for, like the areas of responsibility that they have, but not so much detail that it's so prescriptive that they're not able to make the appropriate decisions about what they're doing, right? So clear and concise. And then third, that it's current. Is that job description current? Make sure it's up to date and that it aligns with your strategy. Because if you have recently changed your strategy, your goals for this year are defined and you have the strategy that you're aiming for, that might impact the job descriptions of everyone on your team. Maybe you've pivoted a little bit and you have a key priority that you're focused on. Let me give you an example. At Foresight, we launched the Lead Culture Network in the fall, which, by the way, you should be a part of. I'll give you a plug at the end of the podcast episode about it. But the Lead Culture Network is an online community that we've built for culture champions. Amazing resource, amazing tool, something we're really excited about, but it impacted every one of our job descriptions, right? Because it didn't exist 5 months ago. So now that it exists, everybody has new responsibilities related to the network. Well, if I don't actually clarify, well, who's responsible for what? In fact, one of my team members raised this. She's like, okay, wait, what is everybody's responsibility now related to the network? Because we added something new. It's a strategic initiative. It's a new part of our strategy to help us accomplish the vision and the mission. And without giving clarity to now, how does that impact everybody's roles? They're left confused. And guys, I am preaching to the choir right here because I was guilty of it. We had a new strategy and I hadn't defined its impact on everybody's job description. So we needed to provide that clarity. We had to provide that clarity. So make sure it's current, that with that new strategy in mind, how does that impact everybody's job responsibilities? And don't just verbalize it, So you feel like, oh, I told them. No, actually document it. Make sure that it's on their job description so they can reference it. It's a reference point, right? So again, we often stop at strategy. We get really excited, mission, vision, strategy. Woo, let's go and accomplish all these things. And we're energized by that. We see that horizon. It's clear, it's compelling. We're ready to go, but it's fuzzy and out of focus for our team if we don't go that next level and make sure that structure to serve that strategy is abundantly clear. When people are unsure about how their role supports the vision, and if they feel confused about priorities, they will quickly become disengaged. They could love the vision and think it's amazing, but if they don't understand where they fit and they're confused about where to focus their energy, they're going to become disengaged. Lack of clarity leads to lack of confidence. When team members have the clarity they need, they more confidently contribute. And that's what I want you to take away today. When team members have the clarity they need, they more confidently contribute. Providing organizational clarity is an absolute game changer for your culture. So many teams struggle because leaders undervalue the fundamentals that provide clarity and build trust for their team. But when this foundation is secure, you've built trust by providing the essential things that employees need to feel confident in their role and what's required of them. With this understanding of the structure and where they fit in their roles and responsibilities and the confidence created because of that clarity, your team's now equipped to engage at more meaningful levels of contribution and ownership. So friends, how's your structure? Is it designed to support your strategy? Because if you're feeling that quicksand, if you're feeling like things are stalled or stuck, like you started so strong with great mission, vision, strategy, but you're not seeing it start to get momentum, it could be your structure. So I want you to look there and go, is there anything we need to clarify that helps everybody understand their role, their place, and their responsibilities so they're equipped to confidently contribute? All right, friends, I hope that was helpful, got you thinking. Next step would be, hey, audit your org chart. Just look and see, where do we need to provide clarity that helps everybody succeed? And then I would love for you to check out the Lead Culture Network. Guys, we launched this to be a community in a place where culture champions can connect regularly. I do live trainings once a month on topics and things that I'm not sharing broadly, things that I'm talking first to the network about. We do Q&As with all of our coaches where you can hop on a call, ask your question, get live coaching from our team of coaches. So it's in a group environment. You learn from the other people in the network. There's a community and a place for you to share ideas or share what you're learning or ask your questions. We just added a women in leadership tea time where once a month, if you're a woman in leadership, we're going to just have virtual tea time and catch up. Lots of different opportunities and ways for you to connect as a culture champion. So check that out. The link is in the show notes, but it's a phenomenal place for you to connect with other culture champions and keep leading well. So thanks for being here today. Thank you for starting the year strong, leading well, and providing the clarity that your team needs to succeed. And we will see you next week.